is the 24th of January 2021, halfway through the month, half and a quarter way through the month of January. Thank you so much for watching UBC TV Inspiring Uganda. Welcome to UBC News Tonight with me, Sharon, Kyomugisha and Mugalu Mohammed on sign language. Let's take a look at our top stories of the day. In our top stories of today, UBC News Tonight, Nawakoba advises Ugandans to maintain peace. In more news to come, over 3/4 of district chairmen are NRM. Isabaluri held over supporting peaceful campaigns. And more stories, Magog optimistic ahead of Uganda's final group game. In our top stories of the day, Minister for Information and National Guidance, Judith Nawakoba, urges political contenders who lost in the recent elections to concede defeat and work for development of Uganda. She was addressing journalists at the ICT Ministry in Kampala, where she emphasized the need to continue observing standard operating procedures against COVID-19. Okurut has a detailed report on this story.
Presidential, parliamentary and local government elections may have been successfully held in Uganda, but the process is not yet over. As such, Ugandans need to observe not just the electoral laws, but also ensure the remaining exercise is peaceful. This was the appeal made by Minister for ICT and National Guidance, Judith Nawakoba, as she addressed the media in Kampala.
And we call upon everyone to please remain active and also engage in the different election activities.
She wants political contenders to embrace political maturity for a peaceful end of the electoral season.
Leadership is a call to serve the people. Leadership is a call to listen to the poor people, but also the vulnerable. I therefore call upon all those who are elected, especially our colleagues in the opposition, to serve the Ugandans and also put their issues at the forefront.
Nawakoba, who is concerned with the continuous misuse of social media, urges Ugandans to embrace responsible use of the internet during and after the elections.
The best thing would be to use it responsibly. Let us not use internet to incite, to intimidate, and also call for violence. The best thing would be at this moment, call for calmness, call for tolerance, call for peace. That's what we want. And let people go back to work.
As for Robert Kyagulanyi, who still claims victory of the presidency, even after being defeated by incumbent Yoweri Museveni, Nawakoba has a word for him.
Ugandans voted, and they voted a leader of their choice. And His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, was announced as a person who won with a bigger percentage of 58 plus. So I believe that let us try to respect what Ugandans decided in that respect.
As anxiety draws towards reopening of schools, stakeholders are urged to wait for an official pronouncement by government.
From what we know, it is only finalists that were allowed to attend school, but in case of any changes, let us wait for His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, or the Minister responsible for education. They will be communicating.
In the meantime, COVID-19 remains real, and Nawakoba urges Ugandans to continue observing standard operating procedures against the pandemic. Henry Okurut, UBC.
The NRM Secretary General Rose Namanja has held Ugandans for voting NRM flag bearers, mainly in the recent local government elections, where the party won in 3/4 of districts. Namanja was addressing a press conference at the NRM Secretariat along Chadondo Road in Kampala district. During the just concluded local government elections, NRM won in 85 districts out of 134 districts of the results so far received. The party treasurer Rose Namanja disclosed this while addressing a weekly press briefing in Kampala district.
To acknowledge that, but as far as the numbers are concerned, countrywide, like I gave you for local governments, so far we are at 63% district chairpersons, and councillors we are at 74.7% as far as preliminary results are concerned. But we have the information with us. We have won overwhelmingly where we have lost. It's not the first time that NRM is losing in Kampala, by the way. If you look at the number of Lord councillors that we had, it was for 2016. It was also not as good, but we also acknowledge the fact that there are areas where we had lost miserably.
Namanja advises those who lost in the election to remain calm and wait for another time.
The candidates have made different statements, but as far as NRM is concerned, we are still here, and longevity is not the issue. Chama cha Mapinduzi is almost 60 years. In power. In 2014, the Secretary General and I went to attend the celebrations for 50 years of CCM in power. The same with many other parties. So it's not about longevity, but like I said, we all agree when somebody has just lost an election and goes for to address the media or anything, there are those issues that come up, but we are still here for the long run.
Namanja says they're ready to work with the opposition who won at different levels, especially in Kampala district.
Where we performed poorly, we also agreed that we are going to sit as a party and look at the dynamics. Like I said, at one time, for 2 or 3 consecutive terms, I think, or elections, NRM had lost in Kasese. We went on the drawing board, sat down, and it didn't come by accident that this time round, NRM won in Kasese. So in areas where we have lost, we sit back, go on the drawing board, audit the entire process, and design strategies of winning.
Namanja says the National Resistance Movement Party wants voters to participate actively in the remaining elections that are key to ensure service delivery. Sharon, Kyomugisha, UBC News. Isabaluri Mwagezi Butamanya Mwatasonzi Sabalongo of Buluri Chiefdom is against politicians who hijack government development programs, claiming it is them who initiated them. Now, the Sabaluri said this while meeting Ugandans living in the diaspora, led by UNAA Special Envoy Zephaniah Kiza, sending at his offices in Nakasongola.
Isabaluri Mwagezi Butamanya Mwatansozi Isabalongo of Buluri Chiefdom says he is not happy with politicians who selfishly claim they are the initiators of government projects. The Isabaluri says this makes many people hate government, thinking it has done nothing. Mwagezi Butamanya was receiving a delegation of Ugandans under NRM Diaspora Campaign Task Force 2021, led by the UN Special Envoy Zephaniah Kiza Seninde in Nakasongola. He commended them for being patriotic and also for participating in the campaigns for President Yoweri Museveni and the NRM. The Ugandan North American Association Special Envoy Zephaniah Kiza Seninde commended the Isabaluri for his contribution to the just concluded general elections.
Let us make a change in this place so that our being in Uganda can be visible to semukubira atulinga kukinyumu baga tumanyi ekyo kizimbe temulaba twagizimba oluguudo guno emulaba twasaba gavumenti neerukola ebyo nabyo tusobola okubikola okufunya abantu nga bafonala mu buli mukasa n'abalala.
The NRM Diaspora Campaign Task Force 2021 disclosed that they are to establish a pineapple processing factory in Luwero for value addition to fruits produced in the area. The chairman, NRM Diaspora Campaign Task Force 2021, Dennis Kalema, was addressing farmers and fruit dealers in Luwero.
Appeal to diaspora members, we are going to appeal to the white people, to our friends in diaspora who want to invest here, to come here, this place in Luwero, and so that they can have a factory, so that we can have value addition. We can export fruits, we can as well export juice. Not only this area, but other areas that we went through. We are going to visit to find out how we can help these people.
Sudat Kai, Signologist.
Prior to the 2021 legislative elections, Mogalu North Constituency was a hot spot, especially because of two people, Sodo Aine Kaguta and Shatsim Shere Kutesa. Now, these two were in line to contest for the position. I think that didn't come to pass because Sodo Aine Kaguta withdrew from the race on D-Day. It has taken Sodo Aine a lot of explanation to the electorate to convince them that he was bribed by the historically affluent family of the Kutesas to which Musherude belongs. Watch.
Sodo Aine Kaguta has continued to exemplify himself as a politician of repute and professional nature. This has been witnessed at his latest involvement with his Mogalu North Constituency supporters in Sembabule district. It should be noted that Sodo Aine Kaguta withdrew from the Mogalu North Constituency seat election on D-Day, a move that left many of his supporters in wonder. Public opinion blamed him for accepting a bribe, which he has over the days denied, and is the reason he met his supporters to clarify his reasons.
I was telling my people, because I called my supporters here to come. One, we have lunch together. Secondly, I wanted to tell them why I dropped out in the last minute, because I wanted, others were saying that I was bribed, so I didn't have time to tell them what happened on that day, but that's why I called them. And secondly, because I still have interest of standing in Mogalu North, I was informing them that 2026 is tomorrow, so I wanted them to know that I'm coming back. Yes, I dropped out on that day because of the president, because he told me and he asked me to step down. But 2026, he promised me that even he will support me. So I wanted to tell my supporters to be calm. One, to know that I was not bribed. Second, to know that I'm around and I'm coming back.
In order to convince the electorate that this was a family decision certified by President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, Sodo Aine Kaguta invited some of his kin and kith at the latest meeting with his supporters.
Batwaze wano okubeera n'abantu b'Sembabule Mogalu North ne muganda waffe Sodo era gutwasaba nga famire n'atuwuliriza kyokka nga mukulu waffe ow'ekitiibwa president yateekayo okusaba kwe lwakuba muwanyizi w'eddembe tayagala abantu kulwana mumanyi rekodi y'erukiriya yagamba tukolesa conference nga family era twagikola.
Ebyo byeboogera mu Sodo yatunda akalulu si bituufu. Sodo yasabwa mukulembeze w'eggwanga ate nga muganda waffe omukulu era ye taata waffe era yasaba Sodo twatuula nga family, yasaba Sodo okuva mu kalulu akuume emyaka emirala egijja oba okwagala eddembe mu Zimbabwe kubanga kali kafuuse kali kaleesemu entalo ate nga ne famire yakuteesera nayo famire yaffe kati ye nga omukulembeze ate nga mukulu w'ekika n'atusaba Sodo awumuze alekerere Shadzi agende mu maaso n'akalulu.
The Sodo family is still determined on ensuring all promises they offered, especially in regards to health delivery, are delivered for the people of Zimbabwe.
Akakadi ka Sodo kagenda kweyongerayo, actually katugenda kalontingira ddala n'ebyemirimu tubinoonye n'ebyamasomero zibasale byonna tugenda bikola naye kati kakyaliku byeddwaliro ku Biakofu ne New Hope Clinic ewakasebante ku bbiri gye baba bakuwadde Sodo akusasulirako ebitundu 5 eyo giba mitwalo 10 Sodo ajja kusasulira mitwalo 5 abakazi abeetaaga aka TV naffe tujja kusasulirako ebitundu 5 ku 10 bye baba bakusabye.
The Mogola North seat was ultimately won by Shatis Musherule, who to say swept to victory is an understatement.
Hoima Chief Magistrates Court has set 25th January 2021 as the hearing date for the petition filed by Ismail Kasule, a loser in the Hoima West parliamentary race. Ismail Kasule is seeking for a vote recount, was voted second, making Dr. Joseph Ruyonga, the NRM party, the legible winner, Hoima West Member of Parliament. We have a detailed report by Nyonzima.
Dr. Joseph Ruyonga of the NRM party won the NRM West parliamentary race, beating Kasule Ismail of Alliance for National Transformation Party. However, Kasule Ismail has contested the outcome of the results at Hoima Magistrate Court. Kasule contends that there were several errors manifested in the vote counting with manipulation of declaration forms.
We filed in a petition seeking court to allow a recount for the Hoima West parliamentary seat election, and we are glad that court has set 25th January on Monday at 10. So when court will be sitting to hear our application, and we believe court will give us justice, because people have been asking us what are we doing, what are we doing about their win, about their victory, and we believe we are going to get justice on Monday.
To this effect, the winner for Hoima West Member of Parliament, Dr. Joseph Ruyonga, has asked the complainant to join hands and work for the development of their constituency.
5 years is not a very big period. After 5 years, again, we shall come back to the race and see who could be the best. But I'm assuring people that please come and join me. Let's work together. Let's not be enemies of each other, because we are one. And the politics is a game. It has ended. Now what we go in is to serve our communities so that they can get the best what they expect from us. I'm also assuring His Excellency the President of the Republic of Uganda that we are going to work together, because you are our parent, you are our parent, you are our father. Where we go wrong, please direct us so that
In more news, the Vice-Chancellor, Bishop Stewart University, Professor Mauda Kamatenesi, has appealed to parents and the general public to embrace and support use of technology in education. Professor Kamatenesi said this while addressing the media at Bishop Stewart University, Kakoba, Mbara City, as the university prepares for its 16th graduation slated on March 26, 2021.
They are giving us what they call...
The Vice-Chancellor, Bishop Stewart University, Professor Mauda Kamatenesi, says they have embraced information technology as an adaptation measure against challenges occasioned by COVID-19 new normal environment. She says at the height of the lockdown, Bishop Stewart University adopted teaching via e-learning and open distance learning policy.
It's no longer a luxury. It is now a tool that they must have. A computer is no longer the new book. What you call the book, exercise book today, it's a laptop. So whenever you are going telling the parents, tell everyone that you must come with a new one, with the book, the exercise book, which is a what? A laptop. And the other tool which can help you if the other one is not on, it is the what? Is a smartphone. So those are the things we are requiring now. Actually, we are not going to ask students how many books have you carried now. We are no longer going to ask that.
Technology. Professor Kamantenesi now wants parents to embrace this mode of teaching and be able to provide students with smartphones and laptops.
An amendment of Section 25 of the Kampala Capital City Authority Act in 2016 disenfranchised Kampala division mayors that were left at the mercy of KCCA Executive Director. This has stifled progress at division level, leaving mayors crying foul over being denied their powers to enable planning and service delivery in their divisions. And now, with just a few hours to another election for these positions, our reporters sought contestants' opinions. Details for them.
In 2016, Section 25 of the Kampala Capital City Authority Act was amended and in so doing stripped division mayors of their previous powers. The amendment mainly reduced the division mayor's budgetary powers, which were placed in the office of the Kampala Capital City Authority Executive Director. With this new development, many division mayors during the last term struggled to achieve their targets with no powers and funds to implement programs in their area.
But very soon the powers will be decentralized, and because all the funds are centered in the authority, then it makes us very difficult to
see that this money is allocated according to the opportunities or according to what is necessary at that particular time.
We are going to have our own budget, and the resources are going to be allocated. I know it very well that this time around we are going to control our budgets as local governments.
Section 35 of that law, it states that powers shall, now it is a must, powers shall be devolved to the divisions. The previous law was powers and functions may be devolved by the authority to the division in consultation with the central government.
If you say that you want to ensure that you're going to buy garbage trucks, in the first 2 years of my term, we focus on that. The third year comes, we say we are now going to construct the drainage systems. Already the garbage trucks you've bought, the money that you used to buy the garbage trucks in the following financial year will be there.
The mayors decry the fact that despite being legally constituted, their powers are curtailed by having to seek guidance on basic issues from Kampala Capital City. With the election of division mayors in Kampala Central, Nakawa, Kawempe, Machindi and Lubaga less than 12 hours away, questions of how they will perform under President-nominated KCCA Executive Director will remain an uphill task.
Build rapport with these people so that we can talk, we can lobby them to see that their programs are implemented. But too, if they fail, we exert pressure on these people so that they can heed to our call.
The worry is how the elected personnel will be able to expedite key issues including health, education and hygiene, especially during these times of COVID-19 when they're operating under somebody.
There is nothing as difficult as looking for a vote on the foot, walking house from house to house, from house to house, from door to door.
We have land grabbers, we have garbage, we have the health situation, our health facilities lack medicines.
We have members working in shifts because of COVID, and as a result, we have experienced non-performance in some sectors, and one of the most hit sector is the health sector.
But to the aspiring mayors, all hope is not lost, with the dire situation being used as a blessing in disguise as they pursue other avenues like partnerships to ease service delivery in their constituencies. During the past local government elections, out of the 44 seats for councillors in KCCA, 41 seats were won by the National Unity Platform, while 3 seats were won by the FDC party. The NUP wave that swept the Kampala vote last week has become a threat to many of the contestants that don't subscribe to the party.
Right now we have more opposition sweeping and taking so many of these. What does that say about the politics and what people want?
Leaders that they deserve. And in most cases, they elect leaders that look like them.
No, because those are our friends, those are our partners. There's no difference, there's no fear fearing that NUP will take. No.
Working as a team. Ugandans are supposed to know that we are working as a team. As such, I'm an FDC. See ability in me and the potential of working. They should put aside our differences in the political parties.
Represent very well people of Kampala and work on their problems because we having to speak one language, being of the same party.
We have members leading the city coming from the same party. Of course, you don't expect to win.
Many are on tenterhooks, but still have a glimpse of hope to win the mayoral elections in these divisions.
My chances of winning these elections are so high because the people of Kampala, if you look at the trend, the way they have been voting, they vote quality.
100%. You see, people of Lubaga have decided to vote for all the flag bearers of the national platform. They are voting for umbrella. And I know that polling day, I'm going to win this election by 100%.
Me 59%, and the second challenger was at 27%. And that gave me courage to fight more much as I was counting myself about 70%. But right now, I say the way I look at trends, I'm at about 80%.
Chances are great.
Which percentage?
Can I say 75 to 80%? Yes, that is my projection.
The people in Nakawa, they know they have got a ghetto mayor. I've gone through the doldrums. They've seen me as the person who is hard work.
For most of the candidates, electorates have been asked to vote for capability, not political parties. Uganda has one of the world's youngest population, with over 78% of its population below the age of 30, and most of these residents in urban settings. This then puts pressure on elected leaders on how best to provide for this age bracket that requires, among others, jobs.
We shall also promote the youth to establish cooperatives, because that is one of the strategies that help young people to grow. When you see those countries, the tiger countries that developed, they use the cooperatives and the JIT policy. We are going to help the youth to appreciate the JIT policy, to do things just in the right time.
We want to employ those very young people to ensure that they collect garbages in their residence so that they can take that money. Still, in the local government, we have road sweeping, we have desilting.
We want to open up centers in this division so that we can train our youth with normal handable skills like carpentry, mechanically, tailoring, which are very easy for someone to understand. Not doing degrees and bachelors, which anyone cannot get a job.
Regardless of the low turnout for local government elections last week, big numbers are expected to vote for mayors in respective divisions. Sharon, Kyomugisha, UBC News.
Well, we'll take a short commercial break and we'll be back with business stories.
You may have heard of physical distancing. This means keeping at least 2 arms length apart from other people at all times to reduce the spread of coronavirus. But why is it so important? Without physical distancing, each person infected with coronavirus will infect 2 to 3 others. Each of these people go on to infect 2 to 3 more, who each go on to infect another 2 or 3 people, and so on. Within a month, the infection will spread from 1 to 406 people. But if each person halves the number of people they come into close contact with, the number of infections drops dramatically. Each person would only infect 1 or sometimes 2 people, and each of those infected people would only infect 1 or occasionally 2 more. So the disease spreads much more slowly. In a month, the infection would only spread from 1 to 15 people. That's the power of physical distancing. Keep at least 2 arms length distance from as many people as you can to reduce infections and save lives. That way you protect yourself, the people you love, and your country.
This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Health.
It's not
no secret that ICT makes learning easy.
The strides made in our field could not be possible without it.
And now we can watch our favorite show.
My radio is my best friend.
UCC provides an enabling regulatory environment and policy guidance for healthy competition. We also facilitate ease of doing business in the communications sector through licensing, standardization, spectrum management, tariff regulation, rural communication development, and consumer empowerment. An informed consumer is an empowered consumer. UCC supports local content and innovations. Driving the development of a robust communication sector in Uganda is Uganda Communications Commission.
Connect to the world for free on Ayoba. Chat with friends for free. Play games all day for free. Jam to Ziki for free. You can also send money through Ayoba. Absolutely no MBs needed. To download the app, visit www.mtn.co.ug/mymtn and select Ayoba.
Everywhere you go, MTN.
Tuliko wadde okuleeta obutabanguko, obulabe, okukyawagana buli lwe tuba tugenda okulonda. Tuleme kuleka bululu kutwawula. Nze nonze mirembe. Emirembe gye twetaaga mu maka gaffe, mu bifo byaffe gye tubeera, ne mu nsi yaffe yonna Uganda. Nze nonze mirembe.
This message is brought to you by the Netherlands Institute for Multi-Party Democracy in partnership with Inter-Party Organization for Dialogue, iPod.
Byolina okumanya ng'omulonzi ku lunaku lw'okulonda. Weeyanjule mu kifo we balondera, we weewandiisiza ng'omulonzi. Lagayo ekiwandiiko ekikukkiriza okulonda. Kayinza okuba akakonge akakakasa nti oli mulonzi oba endagamuntu yo. Ku bino bw'oba tolinaako n'ekimu era osobola okuyambibwa avunaanyizibwa ku by'okulonda okukebera n'okukakasa ebikukwatako ku lukalala lw'abalonzi. Avunaanyizibwa ku by'okulonda ajja kukakasa ebikukwatako ng'akozesa ekyuma ekikebera ekinkumu. Oluvannyuma lw'okwekenneenya buli kimu bajja kukuwa akakonge kw'olondera. Yolekera awali ebbaafu olonde omuntu gw'oyagala ng'ossaakayini mu kabokisi oba ng'okozesa ekinkumu. Akakonge kw'olondedde kazinge busimbalaala nga bw'onoolagibwa avunaanyizibwa ku by'okulonda. Yolekera awali akabokisi omuteekebwa obululu n'obwegendereza osseemu akaluluko. Omuyambi w'avunaanyizibwa ku kulonda ajja kusalaama ku ntikko y'olugalo lwo okukakasa nti omaze okulonda. Yolesa eddembe lyo okulonda abakulembeze bw'oyagala. Kakasa nti ekifo we balondera kiggulawo ku ssaawa emu ey'okumakya ate okulonda kuggalawo ku ssaawa 11 ez'olweggulo. Tuuka mu kifo w'olondera mu budde. Kyalira omutimbagano gw'akakiiko k'ebyokulonda ogwa www.ec.or.ug okumanya ebisingawo. Obubaka buno bukutuusibwako akakiiko k'ebyokulonda.
In our business stories, business leaders in Kampala have shared their thoughts on what enterprises ought to consider whilst taking on a new economic agenda for the decade 2021 to 2031. This was at the conclusion of the 2021 Annual Business Trendsetters Forum sponsored by NSSF and other private sector partners. Wadulo McArnold reports.
As the economy gradually recovers from the adverse effects of COVID-19 and the election disruptions, the need for efficiency within the work arena has become a prerequisite.
For you to be a trendsetter, you have to innovate. You have to disrupt. Now, we see a lot of disruption in different industries. We see a lot of innovation. You can look at it from, for instance, the arts industry. I've been part of the arts and the music industry. Every year there is a new video, maybe using a new technology, breaking the odds, Some videos have been viewed 1 million, a video goes out and becomes global. So someone sets a trend. Now, it may not be like the Steve Jobs trend, or it may not be like the Steve Jobs innovation, but it's an innovation. It's a Ugandan who has gone out there, has seen videos in a given way, and decided to do them differently. And what he did differently becomes a catch.
Labor dynamics have changed with multiple job losses in the country. A survey conducted by the Economic Policy Research Center in April 2020 highlights that small businesses had been hit with close to 600,000 jobs lost temporarily, of which more than 80% of them were in the service sector.
How can we reassess ourselves, and be able to also look at the workforce differently? Most companies have been advising them to take on short-term workers. You don't need the permanent full-time employee right now in some cases. You can take on workers on a shift basis who work a few hours a day remotely, and then they also have time to also build other businesses. So, and it's also a good time for people to also get into entrepreneurship and boost their retirement, funds and plans.
The attendees of this year's Business Trendsetters Forum upheld the need for a robust communication strategy in ensuring companies engage effectively with their intended stakeholders.
Communications and strategic communications cannot be undervalued in any communication, in any plan. Because if we are trying to set new trends, how do we communicate them? If we are trying to set new trends, how do we ensure that they are carried forward for the global outlook to be able to identify and probably take and leverage on?
The Business Trendsetters Forum of 2021 brought together corporate companies' CEOs, youthful entrepreneurs who have a passion to innovate better ways of doing business in Uganda. Wadula Markanold, reporting for UBC News in Kampala.
Capital Shoppers. We have a variety of items like foods, garments, cosmetics, and all sorts of drinks. Enjoy your shopping experience at affordable prices in our fully stocked branches in the following areas: Ntinda Station Road, opposite Makere Business School along Portbell Road, Duster Street opposite Nakasero Market, and Garden City on Yusuf Lule Road. To all our customers and suppliers, we thank you for your continuous support. Stay safe, wash your hands, sanitize, and wear your mask always.
Welcome back to UBC News tonight. From the international scene, rescuers in China have freed 11 gold miners who were trapped hundreds of meters underground for 2 weeks. TV footage showed the first miner, who was blindfolded to protect his eyes from the light, being lifted out as emergency workers cheered. The fate of 10 other miners remains unknown as rescue operations continue to try to locate them. Now, the entrance tunnel to the Hushan gold mine in Shandong province collapsed after an explosion on the 10th of January. A total of 22 miners were trapped in the blast, the cause of which is unknown. At least one died, and it is still not known if the remaining workers are alive underground. The first miner was brought to the surface on Sunday morning. He was blindfolded to protect his eyes from the light and was immediately taken to hospital for treatment, with his condition described as extremely weak. About an hour after his rescue, 10 more miners were brought out from a different section of the mine. Now, CCTV said one of the miners among the group was injured. Several others were seen walking by themselves, supported by rescue workers, before being transported to hospital. We're glad to know that they're safe. Now, police in the Netherlands have arrested the alleged head of one of the world's biggest drug gangs on a warrant issued by Australia. Sechilo, a Chinese-born Canadian national, is said to be the head of the company which dominates a 70 billion illegal drugs market across Asia. Listed on the world's most wanted fugitives, Mr. Say was detained at Amsterdam's Schiphol airport. Australia will now seek his extradition to face trial there. The Australian Federal Police believes the company, also known as Samgor Syndicate, is responsible for up to 70% of all illegal drugs that get into the country. The 56-year-old has been compared to the Mexican drug lord Joaquin El Chapo Guzman because of the scale of his alleged enterprise. Australian police had reportedly been tracking Mr. Say for more than a decade before he was arrested on Friday as he was about to board a flight to Canada. A police statement which did not name Mr. Say said, "With police in the Netherlands acting on an Interpol notice." The United Kingdom has the highest deaths per 100,000 population due to COVID-19 among the 20 most affected countries in the world, according to data updated by Johns Hopkins University on Sunday. Data shows that the UK topped the ranking with 144.63 COVID-19 related deaths in per 100,000 population, followed by Czech Republic, Italy, the United States and Spain as of Sunday. The UK reported 1,348 deaths from COVID-19 on Saturday, bringing the death toll to 97,329 according to official data. Meanwhile, with 33,552 new confirmed cases reported, the total number of coronavirus cases in the country reached 3,617,459. The daily deaths from COVID-19 in the UK remain above 1,000. Prime Minister Boris Johnson on Friday warned that the coronavirus variant first identified in the country may be associated with a 30% higher rate of mortality. Though experts are still divided on the death rate, the rapid spread of the new variant still makes it a huge threat. Now, the UK government is considering intensifying preventive measures to curb the spread of the coronavirus, including further travel restrictions and forcing arriving travelers to wear an electronic bracelet for 10 days to make sure they're under quarantine. That's a huge growing number of coronavirus. Please don't forget to always observe the SOPs. Now, the Kenya government has launched a robotic technology which will test body temperatures and collect data of up to 200 people in a minute. Health Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe says the 3 machines donated by the United Nations Development Programme at a cost of 36 million Kenyan shillings will minimize contact between doctors and patients in 3 Kenyan government facilities. The equipment will be stationed at the Kenyatta National Hospital, Mbagathi Hospital and Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. The robots, which are already in use in Guinea, Rwanda and India, are customizable and can be used for other purposes, including scanning of workforce, teleconferencing and disinfecting of given places. The most Kenya recorded 139 new cases in the last 24 hours, taking the nation's case to 99,769. In the same period, the nation lost 1 more patient and the death toll now stands at 1,740. Health experts are warning that the country's infection rate might surge in March after schools close and parents mingle with their children. In our Sports News, Federation of Uganda Football Association's president Moses Magogo is optimistic that the Uganda Cranes Chan team will gain progress at the ongoing tournament in Cameroon. Uganda has to beat Morocco in the final Group C game for this to be achieved. Watch.
Uganda's chances for a first ever quarter-final slot at the African Nations Championship of Nations largely depends on the outcome of Tuesday's final Group C game against Morocco. Whereas back home hope is low, in Cameroon, FIFA President Moses Magogo draws optimism from history.
The same result we needed against Morocco before losing yesterday's game is the same result we still need. I remember in 1978 that whatever we were trying to achieve with the Cranes then, we are told, was to beat the defending champion called Morocco. And when we played the final game, group stage game, like the way we are, we play against Morocco, who are defending champions, was that we needed a win for us to stay in the championship, and which we did and got. I'm so optimistic that we still have the opportunity to beat Morocco tomorrow, or on Tuesday rather, such that the team qualifies to the next stage. I want to call upon Ugandans to support the team, to support the boys. We had a good game yesterday, but the results that came out of the game are not as good as we wanted.
Magogo also calls for patience with this tournament being used as an experiment for better at the senior Cranes level for most of the lads.
I think what is important for us to notice is that the Uganda Cranes, the senior team, is the epitome team, and right now we are undergoing a transition from a generation of players to another. So for us as a federation, CHAN, or the African Championship of Nations, is a development side where players are tried and tested so that they can be prepared for the Uganda Cranes, and that's the senior team.
Uganda, at its 5th appearance at this African Championship of Nations, is in Group C, in which it drew against Rwanda, lost to Togo, and must beat Morocco in the final group game to stay alive. The tournament is a reserve for players plying their trade in home leagues and commands hefty cash prizes.
Well, that's all we had for you for now, but before we sign out, we'll take one final look at the headlines. In UBC News tonight, Nabakova advises Ugandans to maintain peace. Over 3/4 of district chairmen are NRM. And in more stories, Isabaluri held over supporting peaceful campaigns. Lastly, Magogo optimistic ahead of Uganda's final group game. Well, we hope Uganda Cranes gets to win. The Chan team gets to represent us right by winning. Thank you so much for watching UBC News tonight. My name is Sharon with Mugalu, Mohammed on sign language. From the team and I, have a lovely night and a great week ahead of you. Don't forget to go and participate tomorrow and exercise your civic right by voting for your mayoral divisions.